Hello everyone. Today we're going to do some barbecue ribs on the grill. And I'm not saying this is the best way or the perfect way, but this way works really well. And there's about 100 different ways to do ribs, but many of the ways have some things in common that you can do a lot of different things, but some things sort of remain the same in a lot of different recipes. So first of all, I'm starting out with the St. Louis style pork spare ribs, okay? And these are not baby backs. These were on sale. It's only about 10 bucks for this rack, so I decided to go ahead and use the spare ribs. So the three things that I noticed that are common in most recipes are they start out with a dry rub. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. They also coat with some mustard, which acts as a binder for the dry rub. And then after about 2 hours of cooking, they switch to a foil wrap. And the foil wrap usually includes some type of juice, apple juice or orange juice, and butter. This is just a liquid butter. I'll show you that in a minute too. And then after that, cooking it up to certain temperatures, we always put on a little glaze and some kind of barbecue glaze. Use your favorite sauce. Everybody knows I like Shane's the best. You can get this on Amazon, by the way. It's only about $2, $3 a bottle. And if you can't find that, another good one is the Bullseye. But if you already have your own favorite, use that if you want. But if you have no clue what kind of sauce you want to use, these two are really good. They work really well. Okay, so as far as the ingredients, I've got these two mixed. These are this one's really popular, the McCormick pork rub. This is more of a salty pork flavored rub. And it doesn't have a lot of strong flavor though, so it's good, it's salty, and it's got a pork flavor, but it's just not very strong. This one, on the other hand, from Buffalo Wild Wings, is very hot, very smoky, and it's got a very strong barbecue taste to it. So this on itself would probably be too strong, and this on itself is probably too weak. And so I'm probably going to mix that half and half. Equal parts, and that works out pretty good. Again, get what you want. There's lots of dry rubs out there. If you already have your favorite, go for it. If you want to just try some, buy a thing and taste it. If it's the taste you want, go ahead and use it. But like I said, if you taste this on its own, it's sort of bland, and this one's very very strong. So we're just gonna mix that. Okay, so again, like I said, this is a liquid butter. It's a butter flavored oil called Whirl. Here's the jug of it over here. This is what we always used to cook with in restaurants and stuff like that. So it's pretty good. If you did not have that or couldn't find it, just some melted butter or even butter chunks would work. And we're going to do equal parts, probably a cup of Whirl, a cup of apple juice, and a cup of brown sugar. We're going to mix that up for the foil wrap, and we're going to double wrap that. And again, I've already talked about the sauce at the end. So there you go. I'm going to go ahead and prep this up. I'm going to maybe trim up a little bit here, do a little trimming, get a little of the fat off, and definitely take off this membrane on the back. I'm going to do that off camera. All you got to do is just get up under there, get a good grip on it, and pull it off. It's easy to do, but it does take two hands. So I'll be back when that's ready. And then what we'll do is we'll put the dry rub on, let it set, and get the grill ready while we're waiting. Alright, so at this point I've got it all cleaned up. I just came by here and just took off anything that was kind of hanging, that was really small. The problem is when you got little hangings, things coming out there, all they do is burn. So try to get it cleaned up a little bit. I took off this end right here, which was these, and I'll probably save that for, I'll grind it up for meatballs or something like that. Here's that skin that I removed, or that membrane. Well, it's back in here. But all I did was just took a spoon, got up underneath there, and then just pulled it back. It's that easy. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and lay the mustard down. I'm going to do this one side at a time. And then again, like I said, I just mix this up half and half. And then just spread that out. And then just kind of pat it in a little bit. Make sure you get the ends or the sides. And I'm going to do the other side off camera. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to let this sit for about 20 to 30 minutes while we get the grill prepped up and heated up and up to temperature. And I'll take you outside and show you how that we set up the grill for that. So we'll be right back for the next step. Alright, so I've got my Weber set up for indirect cooking. I got a little basket here. If you didn't have a little basket, you could probably just pile up your charcoal to one side. And I'm just going to use a little wax cube here to get the chimney started. And I've got about 2/3 of it filled, just enough to fill that basket. And once that's good and hot and the coals are starting to get gray on the sides, we're going to pour it in there and then bring the grill up to temperature. I'll put the grates back on at that time. We're going to go with some applewood chunks for smoking. You can use any you want. I also have mesquite chunks that I might throw in there, but I'm afraid that might be a little too strong with everything else that's going on, so I might not use those. I might just use a couple chunks of applewood and be fine with that. But any wood that you like. Some people use cherry, some people use hickory. Those are pretty common, so you could use those as well if you like that. So I'll be back when that's ready. We'll get the grill warmed up, and by that time the rib will have sat enough to bring it on out and get it going. Alright, so I'm starting to get a little gray around the edges on the charcoal, and so it's about ready to go. Now I'm going to put this grate in so I have an open spot right over the coals. So if I ever have to, during the cook, I have to add some more coals, I can just remove the grate and put that in. Now I've got the bottom vent about halfway open. And the top vent I'm going to use to control the temperature. I want to kind of get this up to about 250, 275. And I'm going to put the vent opposite the heat. So I'm going to go ahead and get a thermometer, wired thermometer, and try to get this temperature right about 275 before we put the ribs on. As long as it's holding a good temperature, we're good to go. And I did forget to mention that I am using the Kingsford long burning, which because this is going to go about 2 to 3 hours, so the long burning helps a lot, and I'll probably have to add some as we go too. Also, before I forget, we're going to want to get started with some wood, as that will probably change the temperature. And once you got your temperature all set, you put the wood in, starts raising and that sort of thing. So we're going to kind of try to gauge the temperature with the wood already in there. Alright, so I'll be back when that's up to temperature. I'm going to go get my thermometer and plug it in. Alright, so I got the thermometer in there, and as you can see through the smoke, the vents on top are about half open, maybe a little bit more, and the vents on the bottom are about half open. And I'm holding at 262 right now, which is good. Anywhere between 250 and 275. Just don't let it go up over 275, but that's pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and just off camera, I'm going to throw that rib in there. I don't want to cool down or anything like that, or actually it'll heat up if you keep the lid off too long. The coals will get really hot, so I don't want that to happen. Now again, if your temperature starts going up, just close that off a little bit, and your temperature should start going back down again. So, and then if it keeps going down, you check your coals, and you might have to add some coals about halfway through the cook. So I'll be back basically in about 2 hours. I'm going to let this go at between 250 and 275 for 2 hours, indirect cooking. So I'm going to lay that down, and you'll see how it's laid out whenever I come back. Alright, so let's go ahead and get that foil wrap base ready. So like I said, it's just equal parts. If more or less, doesn't really matter, as long as, you know, I'm doing about a little less than a cup each. So there goes the whirl. Again, you could substitute that with melted butter or whatever. Same amount of apple juice. And same amount of brown sugar. Alright, and this is probably more than I need. I'm just going to pour this on top right before I wrap it in foil. I probably won't pour all of this in there. That would probably just leak out all over the place and make a mess. So I'm just going to use this to coat it inside the foil, and wrap it up after that. Alright, so there you go. I'm going to mix that up a little bit more and before I put it on. So I'll be right back for that step when we're outside. Alright, so it's been going about an hour and 20 minutes. My temperature dropped down. So it went down below 250. So I put in a little bit more charcoal, and I also opened up the vents a little bit to try to get that back up. So just keep monitoring your temperature and try to keep it in that range between 250 and 275. So I'm hoping that's going to come back up. It should be. Once those new briquettes start burning, it will come back up. And I got about another probably a half an hour to go on this, at least. So I'll be back at that point. But I just wanted to let you know that your temperature might drop. If it does, just add a little more charcoal, open up the vents, and bring it back up. Okay, so it's been about 2 hours. Been holding right at 268. Here's what my vents look like, about halfway open. And I didn't have to put any more charcoal in. So I'm going to remove the temperature gauge there so I can go ahead and bring these out. I have not touched them. I haven't moved them since I put them down, and I did put them down bone side down, so they're ready to go. I'm going to put them right on the foil. Now I went ahead and stirred up that butter bath real good, and I'm just going to spoon it on the top here, and then I'm going to double wrap it. Just get enough on the top. It will run down to the bottom. I'm going to put a meat side down for the foil wrap. So everything that's on top here will kind of just melt down to the bottom. I think that's enough. I definitely don't want it dripping down into the grill. But I'm going to try to seal it up good enough to where that's not a problem. So I got it that far. See if I can't mount the camera here and get the other piece on there. And since this is kind of small, I'm going to do one more. I just don't want anything leaking out into the grill and making a mess of the grill. If you had a bigger piece that covered the whole thing all the way around, 2 pieces would have been fine. Alright, so these are still kind of warm, as in pretty hot, but I'm going to see if I can't get them back. And I'm just going to put them right back on there. We're still trying to keep the same temperatures. So we're going to put the temperature gauge back in there. And we're going to try to keep it right around 250 to 275 like before. And we're going to let that go for about another hour. Alright, so I'll be back at that point to open it up, and then we'll throw on the barbecue sauce. Alright, so it's been going for another hour in there wrapped. My temperature did go down. This grill has been burning for 3 hours. Most of my charcoal had burned out. So I put some fresh ones in there, trying to get the temperature back up a little bit. What I'm going to do now is get these out of here. And we're going to put the sauce on. I'm going to take it out of its foil wrap here. I'm going to get some gloves. This is pretty hot to handle. I'm going to get some gloves and get it out and mount the camera. I'll be right back for the next step. Alright, so these are looking really good. As you can see, the meat is pulling off the bone, pulling back. So those are just about ready. And what I'm going to do now is just put a coat of sauce on the underside. And then I'm going to throw it on the grill and put a coat on the top side. And then what I'll do is just let that go for about 25 to 30 minutes and let this sauce bake on. And at that point, should be good to go. Just want a nice thin coating over everything. Trying to get my coals lit. There they go. They're starting to light a little bit there. Just trying to bring it up to temperature for the last 30 minutes. Gotta be careful. They look almost want to break on me. Look at that bone just slid right out. That's nice. And that's exactly what you want your ribs to do. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just coat that and cover it back up. That's going to be kind of hard to do with the... Let me move this. Alright, there you go. We're just going to bake that on. And like I said, 25 to 30 minutes and it should be good to go. And I'll be back at that point. We'll take them inside and cut into them. Alright, y'all. Sorry I had to cut to the kitchen without showing them to you on the grill. But the problem is it got dark out. Probably couldn't see anything, so it made it difficult to film. So here you go. As you can see, they're really tender. I'm going to go ahead and cut into them if I can avoid a bone. There we go. Alright, there you go. Very moist, very tender. Fall apart. This bone comes right out. And it comes out clean. So I'm going to cut up the rest of these. Again, like I said, these bones just slide right out. So it turns out really good this way. These is really tender. I haven't bit into it yet, but I can tell it's going to be good. So I hope you enjoyed that. Alright, sorry about that. My camera kind of messed up, but again, like you can see, this turned out really tender, really juicy. Pulled out the 2 bones, and turned out really good. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you give it a try. And as always, thanks for watching.